Analog tape recording. The 1950s witnessed the widespread adoption of magnetic tape recording technology. Magnetic tape offered several advantages over previous recording mediums like acetate discs and wire recorders. It provided better fidelity, longer recording times, and easier editing capabilities. Reel-to-reel tape machines, such as those manufactured by companies like Ampex and Scotch, became essential tools in recording studios. Mono recording. Mono recording, where audio is captured using a single channel, was the standard format of much of the 1950s. While stereo recording technology existed, it wasn't widely adopted until later in the decade. Mono recordings were made using one track of magnetic tape, resulting in a single audio signal. Microphones and amplifiers. Improvements in microphone and amplifier technology played a crucial role in shaping the sound of recordings in the 1950s. Dynamic and condenser microphones became widely available, offering greater sensitivity and clarity. Tube-based amplifiers and preamps were commonly used in recording studios, contributing to the warm, rich sound associated with vintage recordings from this era. Dynamic microphones. Dynamic microphones, which use a diaphragm attached to a coil moving with a magnetic field to convert sound waves into electrical signals, were widely used in the 1950s. Models like Shure SM57 and SM58, introduced in the mid-1950s, became iconic staples in recording studios and live sound reinforcement due to their ruggedness, reliability, and versatility. Condenser microphones. Condenser microphones, which use a diaphragm and a backplate to convert sound waves into electrical signals, also saw advancements in the 1950s. Early condenser microphones required external power sources, such as batteries or external power supplies, but by the end of the decade, self-biased condenser microphones were developed, eliminating the need for external power. Condenser microphones offered greater sensitivity and frequency response compared to dynamic microphones, making them popular choices for recording vocals and acoustic instruments. Ribbon microphones. Ribbon microphones, which use a thin strip of metal suspended in a magnetic field to capture sound, were commonly used in the 1950s. Particularly for recording vocals and brass instruments, ribbon microphones offered a warm and smooth character, making them ideal for capturing the nuances of acoustic performances. Tube amplifiers. Tube amplifiers, also known as valve amplifiers, were widely used in recording studios and sound reinforcement systems in the 1950s. Tube amplifiers use vacuum tubes to amplify electrical signals, providing a warm and natural sound quality prized by recording engineers and musicians. Models like the RCA 44BX and Neumann U47 microphones were often paired with tube preamplifiers and amplifiers to achieve a classic vintage sound. Solid-state amplifiers. While tube amplifiers dominated the market in the 1950s, advancement in solid-state technology began to emerge at the end of the decade. Solid-state amplifiers, which used transistors or diodes instead of vacuum tubes, offered several advantages, including smaller size, lower power consumption, and greater reliability. However, it wasn't until the following decades that solid-state amplifiers became more prevalent in recording studios and live sound reinforcement systems. Overall, microphone and amplifier technologies in the 1950s laid the foundation for modern-sounding record practices. Vinyl records. Despite the rise of magnetic tape, vinyl records remained the primary medium for distributing music to consumers in the 1950s. Recordings made on magnetic tape were often mastered onto vinyl discs for mass production. 45 RPM singles and 33 1/3 RPM LPs, long-playing records, became popular formats for albums and singles. Live recording. Many recordings in the 1950s were made using live recording techniques, capturing performances in real time without the ability to overdub or edit individual tracks. The approach required meticulous planning and skilled engineering to achieve high-quality results. Editing techniques. Editing recordings in the 1950s was a manual process involving physical splicing of magnetic tape. Engineers would use razor blades to cut and splice tape to remove mistakes or rearrange sections of recordings. While time-consuming and labor-intensive, these editing techniques allowed for precise control over the final product.